Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I am Representative John Michael Parker, excited to convene this meeting on Friday, March 14th of the Environment Committee. Welcome. Thanks everyone for being here. And thank you in advance to the staff that's been working hard on all these bills, including some new folks. We have a new clerk on the committee. And we're grateful to have your support. Casey, thanks for being here. And with that, I will open it up for remarks from the chairs.
All set. Let's go.
Representative Callahan, any remarks? Let's begin in section 3 with item 1, House Bill 5004, LCO 6364. This is an act concerning the protection of the environment and development of renewable energy sources and associated job sectors. I will entertain a motion to JFS to the floor. So moved by Senator Lopes and seconded by Representative Sweet. I just wanted to make sure more than the head tilt. I wanted to hear it out loud. And second by Representative Sweet. Are there any questions or comments on this bill? Rep. Callahan, take it away.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone who's here today, and to our committee members and to our staff. Welcome, Casey, over there. I do appreciate the leadership working with us in screening on this bill. There are sections that were removed, therefore the substitute language you see today. I think we have a really good working relationship on this committee. And I did have a couple concerns with some of the wording still. We may not get support on this side yet, but we're still working. I do, after comments, you can come back to me because I do have an amendment I'd like to enter, but I'd like to give the members a chance to comment before we get into the amendment. Thank you for working with me.
Yeah, sure thing, Representative. Thank you. Further comments on 5004 or initial questions from folks? Rep. Gresco.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I will be a yes on this bill for today, but not thrilled that Section 24 is remaining in the bill, but we could have continued conversation about that in the days and weeks to come. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Rep. Gresco. I'll give a brief remark on Section 24, which deals with the Oswald Grant and the urban agricultural programs. Understand there's a concern here and that the funding that goes through Oswald into a lot of important projects is really critical, and I'm supportive of maintaining that. We're trying to work with our friends on a couple other committees to look at the bond allocation and how we can make sure that there's money to continue these programs, and do not want to edge out good work that's happening through what's contemplated here. So excited to keep this conversation going after JFS with folks like Rep. Gresco and others, but have certainly heard feedback from people and appreciate those that have reached out on this one, and we'll definitely keep an eye on this section and keep working as we go forward. Thank you, Joe. Further comments or questions on 5004? Rep. D'Amico.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. I don't want to pile on here, but I want to align my remarks with those of Representative Gresco, and I appreciate your comments just now. Yeah, maybe that's not a good thing, Representative, but we're going to be together on this one. Section 24 is really problematic. The whole OSWA issue is problematic, and I appreciate the fact that you're going to work on this, and I take that as a commitment that we're going to fix this.
Indeed.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Representative. Is there not a pun instead of pile? What's an open space pun? Someone will figure it out. Pat will figure it out. Further questions or yeah, Rep. Anderson, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. No comments on the actual bill. I'd like to make an addition to the bill. The clerk has an amendment which should already have been distributed. I asked that I be allowed to summarize the amendment.
Please.
So this amendment, which I'm introducing, my legislator with me here, Rep. Piscopo, would impose a temporary moratorium on battery energy storage systems until 8 standards were met to protect public health, safety, welfare, and environmental concerns. It would require minimum setback separation requirements, a mandatory process for identifying how to respond to thermal runaway and other emergencies, and that the those operating these systems would provide funding for that, a mandatory process for evaluating the safety records of these types of battery systems, and establishment of best practices to protect groundwater, surface water, air quality, and other environmental resources in the event of a thermal runaway or other emergency. A requirement that the BESS operators provide bonds or other sufficient security to ensure compliance, and that the BESS operators have adequate insurance to cover the cost of any loss or damages caused by BESS, and a requirement that they have sufficient personnel to respond within 2 hours for a thermal runaway or other emergency event, and a requirement that all the BESS facilities obtain a certificate of environmental compatibility and public need. Mr. Chair, I move adoption of this amendment, and I would like, when the vote is taken, to be taken by roll.
Second.
Motion by Rep. Anderson, second by Rep. Dubitsky. Rep. Pisco, do you want to make comments on the amendment? Go ahead.
First.
Yeah, sure, of course.
Can I add?
Of course.
Say-
yeah,
say
yeah.
some minutes. Thank you, Mr. Chair. So in mid-January in California, there was a giant BESS fire in Moss Landing in Santa Cruz. It burned for a few days. 1,200 were evacuated. The highway was closed for 3 days, and it reignited a month later. I was able to find a database. There have been at least 94 fires or thermal runaway incidents worldwide. These systems are coming to a town near you. There are at least 4 dozen that I found online proposed for the state. I watched a siting council meeting in January where one was approved despite being in a congested retail area, apartments, almost adjacent to a walk-in health clinic and a grocery store, and located on an aquifer. And I saw the siting council struggle with this, but there were only 2 no votes. Then I learned that in November, 2 of these were disapproved for equal or lesser concerns. It really seems like the siting council isn't sure how to deal with these, and kind of making it up as they go along, somewhat arbitrary, and they really need the guidance of establishing more regulations on how to deal with these. This originally, I thought I was going to bring this amendment to SB 1352 and environmental technology, so there's extensive testimony there. But now that bill, I learned, died, and this bill was very similar. It mentions energy storage systems in a couple places, so I feel the amendment is germane. The firefighting community fully supports this moratorium. Peter Brown, who's president of the Uniform Professional Firefighters Association, said that a temporary moratorium is prudent and necessary step to protect our communities. Throughout the United States, at least 40 communities have enacted moratoriums. Of course, we don't want to stop progress on grid resiliency, but it's important we get the safety issues right. These BESS systems have fire and explosion risks. They lack standard regulations. They possibly incur environmental and health concerns, releasing hazardous chemicals to the water and air. The first responders, most of which are volunteers in the state, are not ready to handle incidents at these facilities. In some cases, the operators are more than 2 hours away. So it's important we get all this right, have public confidence before we allow this industry to grow. The principle at work is we need to put safety first. So a moratorium may slow down deployment of these systems, but it also ensure the technology develops with safety as a top priority, preventing costly and dangerous failures in the future. I ask my colleagues to support this amendment.
Thank you for the comments, Rep. Anderson. Are there further comments on the amendment? Rep. Piscopo.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, yes, we had the public hearing that Representative Anderson refers to in the Energy Committee, and it raised some questions, and I sit on that committee, and I asked basic questions. What's the footprint of this thing? It'd be about, maybe picture about something the size of this room, full of batteries, lithium batteries. And of course, it's controlled heat and cooling controlled. And there's an alarm system in case something went off, in case there was a problem. And I said, well, okay, lightning hits the system on top, boom, the cooling goes off in a 90-degree day. Where does the alarm go off? And he said, well, we have it may be out of Albany. I think they're building the headquarters is, I think an alarm would ring there. And then immediately the Harwinton, or wherever these are proposed. In my case, I have one proposed in Harwinton, but that would go off at the police station there. They would notify them right away. So that is a problem. I mean, you have no one right away. I mean, these things, talk about a thermal runaway. Once these things get started, they got to be addressed right away. So this is a very common sense proposal. It's just a common sense amendment, just seeking common ground with everyone here on this committee. It's not a drastic ban or we don't want these, don't like these. We're able, we would accept this battery storage, but we're just doing it in a moderate way, just a moratorium until we can figure out, as the representative said, just a minimum of, like what is the reaction? What are we going to do in an emergency? What are these made of? It's a relatively new technology, this lithium storage facilities. What's the environmental damage is why we're here, Mr. Chairman and members of the committee. The groundwater, the surface water, of course, if there's ever a problem, as well trained as Harwinton is, or Granby is, or there's a lot of these different towns that they're proposed in. As well trained as these guys are, they're the best trained in the world. But as well trained as they are, they're not going to be able to get there. The volunteer fire department, a resident trooper shows up, a volunteer, maybe 2 trucks show up, and they're not going to be able to handle something like this. And the plume, the toxic plume that is released, blows with the prevailing winds over, in Harwinton's case, right over Burlington and toward Hartford. And so it's just a huge problem. It's a huge potential problem. I'm just hoping this committee sees fit. We are the Environment Committee. It's huge environmental threats to us if these things are allowed to just go in without these proper, just 8 common sense proper guardrails, if you will, or just proper common sense or safety measures. That's all they are, and that's all we're proposing. So I hope we get your support for these. I know there's one proposed in a lot of towns you represent, and so you would be doing our constituents a favor if we just take a good look at this. That's all I'm asking. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Representative, for the comments. I see Rep. Steinberg online, then we'll go over to Rep. Dubitsky. Rep. Steinberg.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I do believe that this amendment is well-intentioned and is trying to address legitimate concern about safety. As with many emerging technologies, lithium batteries are going through some developmental challenges. There are actually manufacturers who have addressed the fire issue, including a company right here in Connecticut called Cadenza, which has managed to limit the expansion of any fire from one lithium cell to the next. So that is being addressed. And I also think that the Siting Council is the right place to try to address these things. We don't want to feel that we're in a circumstance where they're rubber stamping projects. And in fact, there's another bill in front of GAE this year to deal with the responsibilities and purview of the Siting Council, which builds on the bill that we passed last year. I think that's the appropriate place to deal with these things. My biggest concern is that a moratorium, while seemingly benign, would have a tremendous chilling effect on the development of renewable energy here in the state of Connecticut. And of course, its adjacent storage. We've already acknowledged we have an affordability issue in the state. What's emerging is going to be an energy supply issue. And why would we arbitrarily constrain the entire industry when most of the actors are good actors, and perhaps the bad actors can be addressed through appropriate oversight. A moratorium, make no mistake, would have a significant impact on our ability to assure adequate supply, and supply is directly related to reliability of the grid. So I urge my colleagues to vote against this amendment, as well-intentioned as it may be, because its actual ramifications are less than benign and conceivably could have a real negative effect on Connecticut's energy future. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you for your remarks, Rep. Steinberg. Rep. Dubitzky.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. There's clearly a appetite in the legislature and in the state in general to develop more electrical generation, especially with regard to solar and wind and other alternative energies. But solar and wind can't be stored anywhere. When you have solar panels on your house and they generate electricity, it essentially goes into the grid. That energy that you're not using goes into the grid and is used instantly. It's not stored anywhere. So the biggest problem we have, or one of the biggest problems we have with making everything electric, is we need a way to store it. So these storage systems that are starting to pop up are essentially giant batteries, where the batteries in an average electric car are about the size of 2 or 3 suitcases next to each other. These storage devices are batteries that are the size of a house or several houses. And I'm sure we've all seen the footage of electric cars catching fire and burning at immense temperatures where they are virtually impossible to put out. Well, just imagine one of those fires times 100 or times 1,000 in your neighborhood. It is an emerging technology. There are, I would not consider this a good actor, bad actor situation. I think we are pushing the envelope of what technology currently is capable of. And as we do that, we need to make sure that we do it safely. It's like when nuclear power started out and we started putting in, nuclear generation in various places without a real good sense of how to make them safe. Now, after decades, nuclear power is a lot safer. Well, this technology, this battery technology, we still don't have it down. These things still do run away on their own, catch fire. And we need to make sure that as we push the envelope, that we at least have the basic safety measures in place to ensure that if one of these facilities, batteries the size of a couple of houses is dropped into your neighborhood, that there are at least we at least have the basic information of how to ensure they don't turn into an inferno and what to do if they do catch fire. So I think this is a very reasonable way to address this issue, and I support this amendment. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative. Further comments, Representative Dillon, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Whatever the merits of this proposal, we have before us an amendment, the subject matter of which has not been heard before this committee. I have not looked at whether or not this is germane, but we do have a lot of business before us, and every member has the right to bring an amendment. But I believe that it's not timely because we don't have the information before us to apply our judgment in the public interest. And for that reason, and I think I heard a request for a roll call, which is really odd. I mean, I literally, I would have to find the testimony on the Energy Committee to even get a sense of what we're doing. I've heard the passion of the speakers this morning. I think that's appropriate. That's something that you care about. I don't think we should be supporting it, and I'm going to vote no.
Thank you, Representative. Are there further comments on this, Rep. Callahan?
Thanks, Mr. Chair. Just briefly, I appreciate my colleagues bringing the amendment up. I also appreciate the comments on the other side of the aisle. What we have here is there's other items on this agenda, and it is a long agenda, but much of this we've discussed and we actually we have common ground on. So there is some amendments on the first couple bills, but one of the bills later on in the agenda is about fires and how to prevent fires. These battery storage systems burn hot. They're tough to put out. They require a lot of water. And I just think that it's an appropriate amendment based on other items on the agenda and other items that are of the cognizance of this committee. As Representative Piscopo mentioned, the toxic clouds that would be emitted into the state would be a serious issue to our environment. And I just think that it's a good amendment and it does fall in the purview of this committee, and I will support it. Thank you.
Thank you, Rep. Callahan. Rep. Piscopo for the second time. Go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for the second time. I just want to address the concerns of Representative from New Haven. I understand, you know, it hasn't been heard. This is new. That's all the more reason why we should just pass this. It's just a moratorium till we could take a better look at this thing, have a public hearing, understand the science of these, and address any emergency we need to. What are the resources? There's real environmental threats here. We are the Environment Committee, so that's all the more reason why we need this moratorium. We're not asking for much. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Rep. Piscopo. I appreciate the comments on this, and I appreciate the amendment and know that this is coming in good faith from our colleagues. And as you discussed this morning and shared some of these concerns about public safety, being able to listen to the voices of firefighters and folks that are charged with our public safety is really important. I also believe that I would like to have time to be able to speak with some folks at the agencies that are involved in these issues and get a better understanding of it before I feel comfortable moving forward with it. So I'll be voting against the amendment today. I encourage my colleagues to do so. But I'm committing to you two that and any others, I'd love to have this conversation going forward and see if we can really find something that's a common path ahead. I appreciate some of the comments we've heard about how important this industry needs to be to the future that we all are talking about affordable, available electricity. And so I don't want to get in the way of that, but if there's a way to do that that protects safety, I'm really open to it. So looking forward to continuing the conversation. I think with that, Mr. Clerk, we are ready to call the roll.
This is a roll call vote for Amendment A. Senator Lopes? No. Rep. Parker?
No.
Senator Hockendahl? Senator Hockendahl? Senator Harding? Rep. Callahan?
Yes.
Representative Anderson?
Yes.
Representative Arzeno?
Arzeno votes no.
Representative Chafee?
Rep. Chafee votes no.
Senator Cohen?
Senator Cohen votes no.
Representative D'Amico?
D'Amico votes no.
Representative Dillon?
No.
Representative Doucette?
Doucette votes no.
Representative Dubitsky?
Yes.
Representative Gresco? Representative Gucker,
Representative Gucker votes no.
Representative Horn,
Rep. Horn votes no.
Representative Jacobson,
Representative Jacobson votes no.
Representative Jensen,
Rep. Jensen votes yes.
Representative Johnson, Representative Leeper,
Leeper votes no.
Senator Marr,
Senator Marr votes no.
Representative Mashinsky. Oh, I'm sorry, Senator Marr, would you please turn on your camera? So we need to see your face.
Senator Marr votes no.
Thank you. Representative Mashinsky. Representative O'Day. Representative Piscopo. Representative Paletta.
Rep. Paletta votes yes.
Representative Reddington Hughes.
Votes yes.
Representative Reyes. Representative Ryan.
Representative Ryan votes yes.
Representative Smith.
Smith votes no.
Representative Shannon.
Shannon votes no.
Representative Stewart. Representative Steinberg.
Representative Steinberg votes no.
Representative Sweet.
Sweet votes no.
Representative Veach.
Beach votes yes.
And Representative Mashinsky. Representative, I think you're on mute. One more time, please. Representative Mashinsky.
It seems like your audio's not working, Rep. Mashinsky. From the left side of my, oh, it's only, oh, there it is. Oh, it's Rep. O'Day.
Representative Mashinsky, we still can't hear you. Okay.
All right. Thank you, Rep. Mashinsky. I see a head shaking back and forth. We'll see if that can be accepted at some point. With that, Mr. Clerk, can you please announce the tally?
All right. So, one, two, we have 10 yeas, 19 nays, and 5 absent.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk and team. With that, the amendment fails. Reiterate thanks to the proponents for bringing it up and looking forward to continuing that conversation and the important issues about safety that you referred to. Are there further questions or comments on 5004? Rep. Callahan.
Thanks, Mr. Chair. And it's not our intent today to do numerous amendments, but there are a couple things we wanted to, I spoke to you about and we wanted to present to the committee. And the clerk is in possession of an amendment, and I would like to have leave of the chamber to summarize. I believe it's been distributed as well.
Please.
This is a simple amendment. With my glasses on, it's simple. It's really, when we're talking about in this bill, in section 16, subsection K, there are state agencies considering applications. It seems like one thing that was left out of the Class 1 renewable equation was modular nuclear. As Representative Dubitsky mentioned, nuclear's come a long way. Europe's using it. A lot of places are using it. As I mentioned in this committee before, we're putting them in submarines down on the shore. And it is a very effective, clean way of generating power. And so this amendment basically would add that to the choices with zero carbon in advanced clean energy technologies. So we just wanted to add that in that section as one of those choices. And that's essentially the meat of the amendment, and I would urge adoption.
Thanks, Rep. Callahan. Are there further questions or?
Need a second.
Oh, right. We're waiting for a second. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. The motion for the amendment made by Rep. Callahan, seconded by Rep. Dubitsky. Are there further comments or questions on the amendment? Rep. Callahan.
I forgot to ask, would you, again, we don't have many amendments. I would like to take my roll.
Not a problem. Rep. Steinberg online, I believe, has a question or comment. Representative.
I do. I want to raise a point of order. This particular amendment, it does not really fall at all within the Environment Committee's purview. This is explicitly an energy and technology related amendment. And I would ask the LCO to rule whether it's appropriate for this committee to be picking up something that should have been heard in the Energy and Technology Committee.
Thank you, Representative Steinberg. Give me 1 second. I'm deferring to, I heard a reference to LCO making a ruling, and I'm looking at our attorney.
I thought you were
Mr.
looking at me.
LCO. Can we stand, the committee will stand at ease. Thank you. Give us 1 second. All right, I will call this committee back into order. Whatever the word for the opposite of at ease is. At intensity. That's weird. Rep. Steinberg, I appreciate your comments. I believe this amendment is germane to the bill and the discussion we're having. If you have a further comment, Rep. Steinberg, I welcome that from you, and then we can also hear from others on this amendment specifically.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I certainly yield to the decisions of this committee. For the benefit of the Environment Committee and those watching, the Energy and Technology Committee did discuss changes to the RPS, the Renewable Portfolio Standard, this session, and chose not to take action. Anticipating a white paper from DEEP on this very subject, which would certainly inform our ability to make good decisions about changes to the RPS. There are many suggestions about changes to the RPS, not just the one that's been proposed here, and many of them are well-intentioned and deserving a further review. But I would submit that we're not there yet, and to change the RPS piecemeal in this fashion on only tangentially related bill is not good form, not good process on our part. I assure you that the Energy and Technology Committee will be taking up the RPS next year after receipt of Deep's white paper on the subject. And next year would be the right time for us to consider changes to our RPS. I beg the committee's indulgence and the introducers of this amendment, but I urge my colleagues to vote against it and to give us the opportunity in the appropriate committee of cognizance to have this conversation with the benefit of Deep's input. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Representative Steinberg, Chair of the NT Committee. Appreciate your comments and the work you've done on this. Well taken. And are there further comments on the amendment? Rep. Callahan.
Thank you. And I understand Representative Steinberg's concerns, but this section specifically is talking about state agencies considering applications for Class 1 renewables. And this whole section is talking about energy in Connecticut. So I believe it is, and I appreciate your ruling, Mr. Chair, but I believe that should be considered as one of the options, and I don't know why it's left out, and that's the simple reason for my amendment, and I look forward to the vote. Thank you.
Thanks, Rep. Callahan. Rep. Piscopo.
Yep, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just for clarification, and the chairman of the Energy Committee is right, what he said about not including nuclear, but we did in Senate Bill 4, we passed the big bill that actually names advanced nuclear right on, is one of the sections where we order the DEP commissioner to examine advanced nuclear as a proposal of in this energy in our energy portfolio, advanced nuclear, and we also give them funding mechanisms to get it started, to cite one, to do the preliminary work on getting one cited, advanced nuclear. So it's the energy of the future. They're talking about micro nuclear power plants. They're talking about intermediate nuclear power plants. And so it was in the Energy Committee big bill 4. And so it's very right and that it should be included in this bill 5004. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Piscopo. Are there further comments or questions on the amendment? Again, I'm going to say I really believe in the good faith of the introducer of this amendment and the policy here, and appreciate your remarks, Rep. Callahan and others, and would love to continue this conversation in the coming weeks and see if there's a way that we can bring some of this into the bill. I am concerned about making the decision this morning on this, given some of the reservations that we heard, and really, again, wanting to consult and work with all of our partners on this as we go forward. So I will be voting against the amendment, encourage my colleagues to do so. But once again, appreciate the engagement on this, and would love to keep this part of the conversation going too. With that, Mr. Clerk, I think we are ready to call the roll.
This is a roll call vote on Amendment B. Senator Lopes?
No.
Representative Parker?
No.
Senator Hockendahl? Senator Harding? Representative Callahan?
Yes.
Representative Anderson?
Yes.
Representative Arzeno?
Arsena, no.
Representative Chafee?
Representative Chafee votes no.
Senator Cohen?
Senator Cohen votes no.
Representative D'Amico?
D'Amico votes no.
Representative Dillon? Representative Doucette?
Doucette votes no.
Representative Dubitsky?
Yes.
Representative Gresco? Representative Gucker?
Representative Gucker votes no.
Representative Horn?
Horn votes no.
Oh, Representative Horn, I need to see your face. I'm sorry.
Yep, you see me? Horn votes no.
Thank you. Representative Jacobson,
Representative Jacobson votes no.
Representative, will you turn your camera on?
Representative Jacobson votes no.
Thank you. Representative Jensen,
Representative Jensen votes yes.
Representative Johnson, Representative Leeper, Senator Marr,
Senator Marr votes, oh my gosh, we're voting on the amendment. I apologize. No.
Representative Mashinsky,
Mashinsky, no.
Representative O'Day,
Hey, yes.
Representative, again with your camera on, please. Oh, sorry. Oh, my bad. Thank you. Representative Episcopo, Representative Paletta, Representative Reddington Hughes,
Hughes votes yes.
Representative Reyes, Representative Ryan,
Representative Ryan votes yes. Representative Ryan votes no, sorry.
Representative Smith,
Representative Smith votes no.
Representative Shannon,
Shannon votes no.
Representative Stewart, Representative Steinberg,
Representative Steinberg votes no.
Representative Sweet,
No.
and Representative Veach.
Rep Veach votes yes.
Yes, clerk, I just want to check. This is Representative Ryan. Did you get my vote as a no?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Clerk, would you please announce the tally?
Okay, we have 8 yays, 24 nays, and 2 absent not voting. Or correction, apologies. That is that's 8 yays, 21 nays, and 5 absent not voting.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. The amendment fails. Again, thank you for the conversation on it. I appreciate everyone's perspectives and looking forward to continuing that conversation. Back to the underlying bill. Are there any further questions or comments on 5004? Rep. Callahan.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I have one final amendment I would like to get on the record and I would like to be voted on. As Representative Piscopo mentioned, battery storage is part of this intermittent energy with solar and wind. You need batteries to fill in the blanks. Problem I have is we all saw during COVID that it was we had outsourced a lot of our medications to China and overseas and enemies. A lot of the battery production is made overseas in China. A lot of the there is slave labor in East Congo that's used to mine the elements for these batteries. For instance, for a car, they have to mine 20 tons of material to get the materials for one of the EVs. But my worry is if this is an integral part of this bill and we're going to be pushing renewables, wind and solar, and you have to have, and I know Energy and Technologies talked about this too, but I think it's applies here because this is a part of the bill. Battery storage is mentioned. So I would urge the committee and the clerks in the possession of amendment, and after the last section, it would just say, notwithstanding any provisions, it's to make sure battery storage systems constructed and installed are manufactured in the United States. So we don't outsource this vital part of this plan to another country that could be a geopolitical enemy. So I would ask that the amendments, I move for the adoption and would just need a second.
So move by Rep. Callahan,
Second.
seconded by Rep. Dubitsky. Thank you. Are there further questions or comments on the amendment?
Take it by roll. Please take the vote by roll, Mr. Chair.
Yes, sir. Happy to. Are there any other questions or comments on the amendment? Rep. Callahan, I appreciate the, again, good faith approach here and being able to have a conversation about, continue this other piece of the conversation about batteries. I am disinclined to act on it this morning, not understanding enough about the supply here, and though I agree with your concerns and would love to see what we can do to support the American economy when it comes to batteries. So happy to keep this conversation up with you. That said, I'll be voting no on the amendment. Would encourage my colleagues to do so as well. And if there are no final comments on this amendment, I will ask you, Mr. Clerk, to please call the roll.
This is a roll call vote for Amendment C. Senator Lopes?
No.
Representative Parker?
No.
Senator Hockendahl? Senator Harding?
Yes.
Representative Callahan? Representative Anderson?
Yes.
Representative Arzeno? Representative Chafee?
Rep. Chafee votes no.
Senator Cohen?
Senator Cohen votes no.
Representative D'Amico?
D'Amico votes no.
Representative Dillon? Representative Doucette?
Doucette votes no.
Representative Dubitsky?
Yes.
Representative Gresco? Representative Gucker?
Representative Gucker votes no.
Representative Horn? Representative Jacobson?
Sorry, Representative Jacobson votes no.
Representative, one more time with your camera on, please.
Sorry for the technical difficulties. Representative Jacobson votes no.
Thank you very much. Representative Jensen?
Representative Jensen votes yes.
Representative Johnson? Representative Leeper? Senator Marr?
Senator Marr votes no.
Representative Mashinsky?
Mashinsky, no.
Representative O'Day?
O'Day, yes.
Representative Piscopo?
Piscopo, yes.
Representative Paletta? Representative Reddington Hughes?
Reddington Hughes votes yes.
Representative Reyes? Representative Ryan?
Votes yes. No. Votes no.
Representative Smith?
Smith votes no.
Representative Shannon?
Shannon votes no.
Representative Stewart? Representative Steinberg?
Representative Steinberg votes no.
Representative Sweet?
Sweet's a no.
Representative Veach?
Beach is yes.
And Representative Horn?
Horn votes no.
Thank you.
Mr. Clerk, would you please announce the tally when you're ready?
Yes.
Okay, we have 8 yay votes, 22 nays, and 4 absent not voting.
The amendment fails. Thank you, Mr. Clerk. And again, thank you to the proponent of the amendment and to the folks that spoke on this one. I think we've laid out a lot of conversations to continue working on and really appreciate the engagement, especially to our good ranking member from the House. Back to the underlying bill. Are there further questions or comments? Rep. Callahan.
Thanks, Mr. Chair, and I appreciate listening to my summarization of the amendments. I do think they're important, which is why I proposed them. I do not have any more, but on the underlying bill, I do appreciate the leadership. We've spent a lot of time in screening, working through this. We've sat down and really talked this through, but there are still elements of it that I disagree with. We have, it seems like it's a blueprint to get rid of natural gas without a substitute. I know the chair and I have discussed this at length, so I still have concerns, which is why I put the nuclear amendment in. If we're going to get rid of the generation over the next decade or so of the fuel that's supplying 40 to 60% of our fuel in Connecticut, we need something to replace it. Renewables are fine, but they're not going to fill that gap completely. So therefore, I still have several questions on this bill, and I will be a no today. Thank you.
Appreciate your remarks, Rep. Callahan, and appreciate the engagement on it. Senator Harding.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just want to echo the comments of Representative Callahan, the good ranking member, my good constituent from New Fairfield, on this particular issue. I have very similar concerns about what this would do to energy cost, electric rates in the state of Connecticut. I mean, we're up here in this building on a consistent basis on both sides of the political aisle talking about ways that we can reduce costs. We have inflation that hopefully is easing now, but nevertheless, we're at a time where everything is costlier. And we've all heard those heartbreaking phone calls from constituents trying to heat their homes in the wintertime, trying to put food in their family's table. And there's just no doubt that this bill, if it were to pass, would potentially add significant costs on all the resources that we so desperately need in our state. And I understand the noble aspect behind it, but frankly, I can't support something which I know in good conscience will raise the cost for so many of my constituents. It's just unfair to them. We should be having discussions in this building on a consistent basis about ways to reduce cost for our consumers, ways to reduce costs for our constituents. And instead, we're voting for today that will undoubtedly raise costs for them. And so for that reason, just simple enough, I have to be a no. Again, I appreciate the work that's been done on this. I do hope that there's continuous work to strip out anything that may open ourselves up to increase fees levied upon our constituents who can just very least afford it right now. But we owe it to our constituents to be mindful of how much everything costs in their daily lives. And passing something that will increase the cost is just unfair to them. And in my opinion, I'm not doing my job as a senator for the people of my district, but by voting for things that will raise fees. So with that said, I thank you. I urge my colleagues to vote no.
Thank you, Senator. Appreciate the remarks. Are there further questions or comments on 5004? Rep. Mashinsky.
Somebody's phone is blaring away here. The most cost effective and can you take that away? Okay. The most geez. The most effective and yeah, Mr. Chairman, can you confiscate this phone? It's like the teacher in school trying to take the phone away from the kid. The most cost-effective way of producing energy is energy efficiency. It's actually cheaper per kilowatt hour than any other form of energy. We are probably going to need all of them: natural gas, modular nuclear, the green energies, solar and wind, but most importantly, energy efficiency. That's really what we have to do. We know the energy demand is going up in Connecticut and the other states, especially when data centers arrive and the way we are electrifying. But we also know that in order to have a future, we need to use as much clean energy as possible to protect our state and make it a sustainable place to live. So for cost savings and for a sustainable future, we need to move in this direction. The goals are appropriate in the bill, something to work for. Other states around us are working for, and we're actually a little behind our neighbor states. So I urge, we should have passed this last year, so we're a year later, but I urge support for the bill. And I also want to express interest in solving Representative Anderson's issue. I know he has a real problem, and some of these technologies are protective and some are not as good. And we ought to work, I think we will work on, the committee will work with Mr. Chairman to address his situation. If I was in your district, I'd be concerned too. And we can work on that, but we don't have to abolish all of them. Down in Texas, you can buy a house now that has a battery built into the house. It gives you a 4-hour storage of your power that you made with your solar. And then it is used in the house after the 4 hours is up when people come home from work and they need electricity. That's already in place in Texas and some other states. So we can do that. We can do better. This is a smart bunch of people in Connecticut. We can do this. If Texas can do it, so can we. So I urge your support for the bill.
Thank you for your comments, Representative. Representative Dubisky.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Fossil fuels are good. They do a lot of really good things for our people and for our economy. They make our cars go. They heat our houses. They power our factories and our hospitals and our schools. They have for decades and they will for decades more. A bill that puts us on a glide slope to eliminating them without a reliable, constant, efficient alternative is misguided in my view. I agree with Representative Mashinsky that energy efficiency is the best way to protect the environment and to make sure that we use as few resources as we can. But our entire infrastructure system has been built up over more than a century on the basis of using gasoline, diesel, and natural gas. Those are not evil things. We have lots of them. And if we use them efficiently, and if we focus on developing that infrastructure and developing the energy efficiencies that can be squeezed out of them, we can make them even more efficient, even more environmentally conscious, and we can actually grow our economy as opposed to stifling our economy. You can use natural gas when the wind's not blowing. You can use natural gas at night. You can use natural gas without the rare earth minerals that are currently mined primarily in Africa by child slave labor and controlled by our international adversaries. Natural gas is not a bad thing. We should encourage the expansion of natural gas. Putting us on a glide slope to eliminate the use of natural gas without a reasonable alternative, which we do not have. Solar and wind are not a reasonable alternative. Is completely misguided. I know that in this state there is a huge push to make everything solar and wind. Thankfully, much of the rest of the country has woken up from that delusion. And although this state seems to be charging headlong into that, Mr. Chairman, I'm going kicking and screaming because I think it's the wrong way to go. Thank you.
Thank you for your remarks, Rep. Dubitsky. Are there further questions or comments on the bill? Representative O'Day.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just briefly to follow up with my good colleague, you know, the rush to green energy, I totally agree with. We need to look at those sources, but I align my comments with my good colleague that if we go too quickly, we're going to hurt those that can't afford it most. And I will be the first to admit my district probably has more electric vehicles per capita than anywhere else in the state. So this bill is not going to harm my constituents in the long term, at least as much as I think it potentially could harm others. You know, I've read over the last year, because we've debated this bill a few times. I've read Unsettled by Stephen Koonin. I've read Apocalypse Never by Michael Schellenberger, and I've read False Alarm by Bjorn Lomborg, who and we're not, they are not, and I am not a climate denier. The climate has changed and will be changing and always will be changing, and we need to do something about it, and we can do more. I learned something just the other day. You know, if we painted our roofs in our cities white and our roadways white, we could reduce on very hot days by 18 degrees in the inner cities. We need to grow more trees. We need to green. We need to do a lot. I'm concerned that if we go too quickly and, as my colleague said, rushing to what I believe the wind energy is harming our environment, those things out in the ocean. So I do appreciate the efforts that have clearly gone on here, and I do think we need to do more, but rushing to it, nuclear is the answer. As I said to our former colleague, Representative Arconti, go nuke or go home. That's going to be how we get through this transition. We need to keep natural gas. You know, China's building, as my colleague had said previously, it's a new coal factory every 2 weeks. They're accounting for, I think it's 70% of emissions from coal power plants, and they're not stopping. So in any event, I'm going to vote no, but I'm looking forward to working with my colleagues on this side of the aisle on how we can make adjustments going forward with our energy grid in a way that doesn't hurt those that can't afford to follow. So thank you very much, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Rep. O'Day. Are there further questions or comments on the bill? I'll be brief myself. There's been some reference today and going back to a bill with a similar number to this one that was worked on in previous sessions. And I want to thank everyone that has been a part of conversations, including a lot of my colleagues on both sides of the aisle, as we've tried to start with a little bit of a blank slate this year and really be thoughtful about what can we do to move forward with all of these concerning factors that we're discussing already when it comes to different sources of energy, ground source heat pumps, which we've got in here, geothermal. We're talking about wind. We've got another bill on wind. Talking about solar. We're talking about natural gas in this bill, in fact. To me, what's most exciting about 5004 this year that we're working on and that I'm going to be proud to vote for here in a second is that we're really coming at this with the lens of affordability for folks, with efficiency, thinking about protecting public health, safety of our communities that will carry forward into another bill that's on our agenda today, because we have to have this approach that is cohesive and holistic, and we're doing our best to strike those balances. So I think there's still some work that's going to happen on this bill. I know people have questions and comments about certain sections here. There's been a number of changes that went into the S language today. I'm grateful for the work that got us to there, and a lot of compromises and meaningful conversations between agencies and other stakeholders here. And that work's going to continue as we go forward. But I really think this is an important step in the right direction. And I thank everyone for the work they've done on it, and encourage my colleagues to support the bill. So with that, I think we ought to have a roll call vote. Mr. Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Certainly. Before I do that, I'd like to remind those voting in the room, if you could turn on your microphones when you vote for the benefit of those outside the room, either now or later on. Thank you.
We appreciate that, Mr. Clerk. I'll also go ahead and say we'd like to hold the votes open after the meeting today until 1 p.m. so folks know that. Thank you.
Thank you. This is a roll call vote for House Bill number 5004, LCO number 6364 to JFS to the floor. Senator Lopes.
Yes.
Representative Parker.
Yes.
Senator Hockedel.
Senator Hockedel votes yes.
Senator Harding. Representative Callahan.
No.
Representative Anderson.
No.
Representative Arzeno.
Arseno votes yes.
Representative Chafee.
Representative Chafee votes yes.
Senator Cohen.
Senator Cohen votes yes.
Representative D'Amico.
D'Amico votes yes.
Representative.
So that's the entire program.
Sorry, Representative Dillon.
Representative Dillon votes yes.
Representative Doucette.
Doucette votes yes.
Representative Dubitsky.
No.
Representative Gresco.
Yes.
Representative Gucker.
Representative Gucker votes yes.
Representative Horn. Representative Jacobson.
Representative Jacobson votes yes.
Representative Jensen.
Representative Jensen votes no.
Representative Johnson.
Johnson is yes.
Representative Leeper.
Leeper votes yes.
Senator Marr.
Senator Marr votes yes.
Representative Mashinsky.
Mashinsky votes yes.
Representative O'Day.
O'Day votes no.
Representative Piscopo.
Piscopo, no.
Representative Paletta. Representative Reddington Hughes.
Hughes votes no. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me get my video. Reddington Hughes votes no.
Thank you. Representative Reyes.
Representative Reyes in the affirmative.
Representative Ryan.
Representative Ryan votes yes.
Representative Smith.
Smith votes yes.
Sorry, Representative Smith, one more time with your camera.
Smith votes yes.
Thank you. Representative Shannon,
Shannon votes yes.
Representative Stewart, Representative Steinberg,
Representative Steinberg votes yes.
Representative Sweet,
Sweet votes yes.
Representative Veach,
Rep Veach votes no.
thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. And with that, friends, we're on to item number 2 on the agenda. This is SB 9, and that concerning the environment, climate, and sustainable municipal and state planning and the use of neonicotinoids and second-generation anticoagulant rodenticides. LCO 6294. I will entertain a motion to JFS to the floor.
So move.
So moved by Senator Lopes and seconded by Rep. Reyes. Are there any comments or questions on the bill?
Okay, thank you, Mayor. As many of you know, this is a continuation of Senate Bill 11 last year. It is similar to the governor's bill, which I think is 1245. So the similar concepts. It is a bill about resiliency, letting our municipalities become more resilient towards weather changes in the future, heavier rains, extreme heat, all sorts of issues that we're encountering that we've obviously seen throughout the last year. A really wise person once told me never to use the words "it's a work in progress," but there are a couple issues I do want to reference. The first couple sections involving the insurance producers and brokers has come to our attention. There are some small issues there. It's not a major part of the bill, but we have assured the insurance industry that we're working on a compromise to this to sort this out. I think we have a compromise in place. It just needs to be vetted out a little bit more. And that's where that one is. If anyone has any specific questions, they can reach out to me, but we hope to have language on that we have language on that, just has to be vetted out. In addition, on the neonicotinoid, no, I'm just gonna say neonics, I'm not fancy like you, neonic section, I believe for the first time in 5 years of trying to get this bill across, we do have a good compromise set up. Unfortunately, we were not able to get the language sorted, ready before the meeting and included into this bill. And to do an amendment here on the floor, I would hold off on that because once again, I just want to vet it out a little bit more, ask a couple more people, as a couple of scientists at the Ag Station and if it makes sense and if it's good and hear back from them. But it looks like a pretty well brokered compromise where we may get this bill in consensus moving forward this year, which would be a great thing. As many of you know, we've been trying to pass this bill for years and years and years. But that's where we are in the bill. I would hope to have support. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. Are there questions or comments? Representative Callahan, and then we'll go to Rep. Gresco.
If I may, Mr. Chair, a question for the good senator through you.
Yeah, go ahead.
Senator, we have a couple different neonic bills and we have a couple different rodenticide bills. What's the assurance to the committee that they're going to mirror each other and match? Because we've made some progress on some.
It is a good question. It is awkward the way we brought it out this year. It wasn't intentional. It happened. Don't need to go into the nerdy details on it. But should we get these compromises brokered, I imagine Senate Bill 9 will be the vehicle moving forward. We will use the consensus language that we've come to move this those portions of the bill forward.
So through you, Mr. Chair. So if I understand, so they'll all be consolidated into SB 9 when it comes to the rodenticides and neonics.
That is my hope. Yes.
Thank you. And one other question for Senator Lopes. Regarding the first section, which having read it and reread it, and we've sat and talked about this, it seems like that's surely lands in the lap of insurance and real estate. And I'm just curious why it's here.
It's a good question. I will say, because it relates to the resiliency portion of the bill, that many instances, not to bore you, but when you buy a property and you're in a flood zone, and you have a mortgage, your mortgage company will come to you and say, "Hey, you're in a flood zone. You have to have flood insurance." And so that's how most people become aware of the necessity of getting flood insurance. We've come to the realization that being in a flood zone not being in a flood zone gives you no assurance that you're not going to have a heavy rain incident or issue. So we're trying to create a mechanism to let people know, due to some changing of weather patterns, the 100-year storm might be the every 5-year storm now, and that people, when they buy property or rent property, as in this bill, they should be notified that, hey, you don't have to have flood insurance, but you might want to consider it. And we're trying to set up a system where people are educated during that process, so that if they want to get flood insurance, they're aware that it's an issue. They're aware that their property is not covered in case of a flood if they don't have flood insurance. Most people think they know that, but there are quite a few people who don't know that. So that is the tie-in to this bill of the resiliency, because the world is changing, and I think we need to get more information out about the dangers of I keep using flooding, but other climate issues.
Thank you. And again, if I can continue, Mr. Chair, just a couple follow-ups. When it comes to that, so the reason it's here is because of the chance that we might get heavier storms in the future, and therefore you're trying to protect the people that are insuring themselves when they buy new houses, or that's it?
Yeah.
Okay. The second part of my question is, you cleared up the rodenticides and neonics part. It seems like a large portion of this bill talks about the type of housing and housing development. And again, same question as with the first part. It seems like that lands in the lap of P&D, and instead it's a large section of this bill. And the same question, why is it here and not in P&D?
Also a very valid question that came up last year when the bill came up through us as well. Resiliency is something that straddles P&D jurisdiction and environment jurisdiction. And for lack of a more astute argument, I would say that it just landed here because we felt it leaned more towards environment than P&D, although there is absolutely overlap for both committees.
Thank you, Senator. And I just still have, we've been working on this, and I won't use your term work in progress, but I continue to want to work, and that's not your term, I'll assign it to you. And we'll continue to work with OPM and try and find a common ground here. At this point, I still have some concerns with the bill, so I do have a little bit of trouble supporting it today, but with our relationship on this committee and the way we work together, I'm hoping we can come to some sort of common ground. Thank you.
No problem.
Thank you for your remarks. I think Rep. Gresko is up, and then we'll go to Rep. Dubitsky. Representative Gresko.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I will be voting in favor of the bill today, but I have to say that the section on rodenticides, the weaker version of the language in this bill, causes me concern, since we've already passed out a stronger version in a House bill that is making its way to the House calendar going forward. So we've had testimony from the Senate Majority Leader in our public hearing saying that he favors the stronger language. And I just feel that this language being included in this bill is going to cause an issue. I mean, our LCO is going to have to prepare a bill note to try to at least flag the conflicting language in both bills. So hopefully we can get the stricter language put into SB 9 as we go forward. But in the interest of a continuing conversation, I will be a yes today. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Gresko. I feel confident that we've got a clever LCO who can guide us through this one. Next up is Representative Dubitsky.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have a question that I'm looking at the S language, and it does, there was a lot of testimony about application of neonics on seeds. I don't see anything in here that either applies to seeds or exempts seeds. So is there, is the application of neonics on seeds permitted or prohibited?
Thank you, Representative. That is the correction and the amendment we want to make, not today, down the road. We're working on the compromise, and the compromise does include the agricultural exemption that would allow for seeds.
Okay, so as written, it doesn't, the bill prohibits the use on seeds.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Rep. Trubisky. Rep. O'Day.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And in all due respect to Rep. Gresco, who was an excellent chair of this committee, I will say his mentoring of the new chair is outstanding. And this group, to be clear, has been some of the most collaborative bipartisan environmental committee chairs in my tenure here in the building. So thank you to the two chairs very much. Appreciated.
Thank you, Rep. O'Day.
And truly, my concern with this bill is it puts a lot in here that is just problematic for them to go. But out of due respect for my chairs and my ranking, I'm going to save my comments. Hopefully, they're not going to be needed on the floor. But if this comes in this language like this on the floor, it's going to be a long night for the House. Thank you very much again to the chairs and the rankings for all your work this session.
Well, thank you, sir. That's fully acknowledged, considering that you made it abundantly clear in the Transportation Committee that this is at best your second favorite committee. And I will never let you live that down. But we'll still work with you regardless.
I think a pizza might be in order.
Pizza.
Representative Mushinski, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. In caucus, I had asked about the last section, section 35, which repeals 8-2F, joint applications for transfer of development rights. So by repealing it, I guess we're saying that we can transfer development rights even if there's only one party, either the transferor or the transferee, instead of requiring both parties, which the current law says. Why are we doing this?
I was going to make, if I'd made that caucus, I would have asked you to look it up yourself, but
Look it up.
The short answer is removing that section allows us to implement earlier sections of this bill. So in a nutshell, the current statute currently only allows TDRs between a buyer and a seller, and it would limit the regional agreements and banking the TDRs. Removing the statute doesn't have any negative ramifications, but it would allow the TDRs outlined earlier in the bill. So it's just that section would not allow us to do certain things we had written earlier in the bill. By eliminating that section, we can now expand the TDRs, the transfer development rights to, sorry for using acronyms, transfer development rights to other groups.
Okay, can you give an example of a case where you would only need one of the parties?
Not off the top of my head, no.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Representative. I believe Rep. D'Amico had a question.
So at the risk of annoying my good colleague from Stratford, I wanted to align my remarks with him once again at today's meeting. I share Representative Gresco's concerns about the NeoNIC section of this bill. I believe it's sections 33 and 34. And I trust that the chairs will reach a compromise that satisfies the concerns of several advocates who testified in front of this committee as to the desirability of House Bill 6916 as opposed to the language that we have in front of us here today in Senate Bill 9. So I hope that the chairs will take that into consideration as this moves forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further questions? Representative?
Thank you very much, Senator. And I share also the concerns of our good representatives Gresco and D'Amico. I will vote yes, but I hope that we will find a compromise in the language of rodenticides and make it stronger as we all expect. And thank you very much for your work and what you are doing.
Representative Dillon?
Thank you very much. I'm going to vote for this, but the neonic section is very, very high visibility with a number of people in our area. There was testimony on it, and I see the language as weak. I know it's an imperfect world, but it's something that it would be helpful if it were strengthened. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Dillon. Further thoughts or questions on this bill? With that, Mr. Clerk, can you please call the roll?
This is a roll call vote of Senate Bill number 9, LCO number 6294. Senator Lopes.
Yes.
Representative Parker.
Yes.
Senator Hockedal.
Senator Hockedal votes yes.
Senator Harding. Representative Callahan.
No.
Representative Anderson.
No.
Representative Arzeno.
Arseno votes yes.
Representative Chafee.
Representative Chafee votes yes.
Senator Cohen.
Senator Cohen votes yes.
Representative D'Amico.
D'Amico votes yes.
Representative Dillon.
Representative Dillon votes yes.
Representative Doucette.
Doucette, yes.
Representative Dubitsky.
No.
Representative Gresco.
Yes.
Representative Gucker.
Representative Gucker votes yes.
Representative Horn. Representative Jacobson.
Representative Jacobson votes yes.
Representative Jensen.
Representative Jensen votes no.
Representative Johnson.
Johnson is yes.
Representative Leeper. Senator Marr. Representative Mashinsky.
Mashinsky votes yes.
Representative O'Day.
O'Day votes no.
Representative Piscopo.
Piscopo, no.
Representative Paletta. Representative Reddington Hughes.
Votes no.
Representative Reyes.
Representative Reyes votes in the affirmative to move it out of committee and flag the bill. Thank you.
Representative Ryan.
Representative Ryan votes yes.
Representative Smith.
Smith votes yes.
Sorry, Representative, one more time. We couldn't see you.
Smith votes yes.
Thank you. Representative Shannon.
Shannon votes yes.
Representative Stewart. Representative Steinberg.
Representative Steinberg votes yes.
Representative Sweet.
Sweet votes yes.
And Representative Veach.
Veach votes no.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. As a reminder, we'll be holding votes open until 1 p.m. today. And I should have said before, I want to just echo the thanks to everyone that's been working on this bill. It's been a great team effort, similar to the first item on our agenda, and we're grateful for that collaboration this year. All right, we're going to keep moving. Next up is item number 3 on our list. This is HB 6868, an act enhancing environmental permitting predictability. I will entertain a motion to JF to the floor. So moved by Senator Lopes and seconded by Representative Callahan. Thank you. Are there any questions or comments on this bill?
Mr. Chair, if I could, I'd ask that you create a consent calendar and place item number 3, House Bill 6868 on that calendar.
Without objection to the consent, so ordered. We will have a comment on this bill from Rep. D'Amico.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. As you're well aware, there was significant testimony that was submitted on this bill, specifically regarding Section 4 having to do with public hearings. And there was concern expressed that the public hearing procedure would be problematic at best, and probably worse than that. I'd like an explanation from the chair, if I could, as to what's going on here, and how do we satisfy the concerns of those who again, I could read it to you, but I think you know what the concerns are. Just wondering how they're going to be addressed.
Thank you for the question, Rep. D'Amico. Certainly heard that concern as well in the public hearing and appreciate those that have reached out about it. I am confident that there is good work happening between the agency and a number of advocate leading nonprofits working on this issue. One in particular that I think has been especially helpful at that table. And as I understand, those conversations are ongoing. So I commit to hearing the results of that and seeing if we can continue working on this one going forward. I think for today, since we don't have the compromise quite yet, would like to keep it going, but appreciate the concern and want to try to make that work in the future. Thank you, Rep. D'Amico. And Rep. Mashinsky.
Yeah, Section 4 is a problem for me too. It really makes it much more difficult for citizen participation and the standing for a citizen to complain about a project that causes unreasonable pollution. So I'm going to vote no as long as Section 4 is still in here.
Thank you for your comments, Rep. Mashinsky. Are there further questions or comments on this bill? We will not have this bill on the consent calendar. Further questions or comments? Seeing none, Mr. Chair, Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
This is a roll call vote for HB number 6868 to JF to the floor. Senator Lopes?
Yes.
Representative Parker?
Yes.
Senator Hockedal?
Senator Hockedal votes yes.
Senator Harding? Representative Callahan?
Yes.
Representative Anderson?
Yes.
Representative Arzeno?
Yes.
Representative Chafee?
Representative Chafee votes no.
Senator Cohen? Representative D'Amico?
D'Amico votes no.
Representative Dillon?
No.
Representative Doucette? Representative Dubitsky?
Yes.
Representative Gresco?
Yes.
Representative Gucker?
Yes. Representative Gucker votes yes.
Representative Horn? Representative Jacobson? Representative Jensen?
Representative Jensen votes yes.
Representative Johnson?
Johnson is yes.
Representative Leeper? Senator Marr? Representative Mushinsky?
No.
Representative O'Day?
Day yes.
Representative Piscopo?
Piscopo, yes.
Representative Paletta? Representative Reddington Hughes?
Reddington Hughes votes yes.
Thank you. Representative Reyes?
Representative Reyes in the negative.
Representative Ryan?
Representative Ryan votes yes.
Representative Smith?
Representative Smith votes yes.
Representative Shannon?
Shannon votes yes.
Representative Stewart? Representative Steinberg?
Representative Steinberg votes yes.
Representative Sweet?
Yes.
Representative Veach?
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Doucette votes yes.
Thank you.
Jacobson votes yes, please. Thank you.
Thank you, folks. And thank you, Mr. Clerk. And votes will be held up until 1 o'clock. With that, we're going to move on to item 4 on our agenda. This is SB 641, an act establishing a pilot program for a boat washing station at Garner Lake in the town of Salem. I will entertain a motion to JF to appropriations. So moved by Senator Lopes, second by Senator Harding. Been a request to move item 4 to the consent calendar without objection. So ordered. On to number 5 on our list. Thank you, Senator Harding. On to number 5 is SB 1378, an act concerning wildfire responses and management. I will entertain a motion to JF to appropriations. So moved by Senator Lopes. Second by Senator Harding. Are there comments on this bill? Thank you, Senator Harding. There's been a motion to move to number 5 to the consent calendar without an objection. So moved. I see a question from Rep. D'Amico.
No question. I just, I would like to respectfully ask the good, I would like to respectfully ask that you turn on your microphone, because those of us on the other side of the room cannot hear you, sir, and we'd love to hear what you have to say.
Thank you, Rep. D'Amico, and thank you, Senator Harding. We're on to number 6 on the agenda, HB 5064. This is an act concerning an option to purchase restricted agricultural lands at agricultural value. Just want to make sure I get the right LCO number on this. LCO 6218, I hear from the corner of the room. Thank you. I will entertain a motion to JFS to the floor.
So moved.
So moved, Representative Gresco. We're on number 6. And seconded by Senator Lopes. Are there any questions or comments on number 6?
Mr. Chair, I would make a motion that we move item number 6, House Bill number 5064, to the consent calendar.
Thank you, Rep. Callahan. Without objection, so moved. Next up on our list is HB 6248, an act establishing a moratorium on fishing for the striped bass in the lower Housatonic River. This is LCO 6223. I will entertain a motion to JFS this bill to the floor. So moved by Representative Sweet and seconded by Senator Lopes. I'll give a brief comment on this. Despite what the title says, this is not, given the S language, establishing a moratorium on fishing for striped bass in the lower Housatonic River or elsewhere. There's been some great conversation to make this bill about increasing fines for poaching, increasing those up to $250 for inland and coastal. Appreciate the work on this one. Are there other comments or questions on number 7? Rep. Callahan.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And to echo your comments, I appreciate the work with Rep. Chafee on this. We did meet with the sportsman on this, and it is, I'm glad you did point out that it is no longer a moratorium, but the fine imposed is to try and stop this poaching and to make it hurt when you do it. So with that, I would request that we move item number 7, House Bill number 6248, to the consent calendar.
Thank you, Rep. Callahan. Without objection, so moved. Next up is number 8, HB 6914, an act concerning revisions to the Harbor Management Act, LCO 6220. I will entertain a motion to JFS this bill to the floor. So moved by Rep. Shannon and seconded by Rep. Sweet. Thank you. Are there questions or comments on this? Rep. Callahan.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. With that, I would ask that we move item number 8, which is House Bill number 6914, to the consent calendar.
Without objection, so moved. I know we're picking up steam here, folks. We'll just say that there's S language on this, which represents some good conversation and compromise on this issue. We heard about it from a number of people, and we want to keep trying to get this one right. So glad that we're moving this forward. Next up on our list is item number 9, which is SB 59, an act requiring a plan for beneficial use dredging. This is a J. I will entertain a motion to JF to the floor. So moved by Senator Lopes. Second by Rep. Sweet. Are there questions or comments? Rep. Callahan.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I would make a motion that we move item number 9, Senate Bill 50, to the consent calendar.
Thank you, Rep. Callahan. Without objection, so moved. Oh, to be, will you just restate the, yeah.
It's sorry, it's not putting my glasses on. It's Senate Bill number 59.
Thank you, Rep. Callahan. Without objection, so moved. Next up is item 10 on our list. This is HB 6250, an act concerning the levels of staffing for environmental conservation officers. This is a JF. I will entertain a motion to JF to the floor.
So moved.
So moved by Rep. Cresco and seconded by Rep. Shannon. Are there questions or comments on this bill? Rep. Callahan.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and I do appreciate this this bill being brought up. And the idea here is not to get in anyone's way, but to figure out through a study that this what the proper amount of staffing would be. And I appreciate the work we did on it. With that, I'd make a motion that we move item number 10, House Bill number 6250, to the consent calendar.
Thanks, Rep. Callahan. Without objection, so ordered. I'm sorry, I wasn't trying to, did you have a, please, if you had a comment, Rep. Brzezinski, go ahead.
Just a comment so we all keep this in mind. I got a report yesterday that 1/2 the anglers in Connecticut are not licensed. So they don't have the rule book. They just go out there and do their thing, breaking all kinds of laws, making it harder for the people who do have the fishing licenses. So if it's really that high, that's pretty alarming. And I hope that this bill will lay down the need for additional conservation officers, because right now the state is getting ripped off. The other anglers are getting ripped off. It's a problem. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments, Rep. Mashinsky. I'm sorry if I missed that initially. As a duly licensed fisherman in the state of Connecticut, I encourage everyone to follow suit. It's a really easy process. You can do it online. Renewal is quite simple, and encourage people to be a part of that. And looking forward to hearing what this bill comes up with, this study. Next up, without objection, that was moved to the consent calendar. So now we are on item 11 on our agenda. This is HB 6273, an act establishing funding for farmers who have crop loss due to significant acute weather events. I will entertain a motion to JF to finance. So moved by Rep. Shannon.
Second.
Seconded by Rep. Mashinsky. Are there questions or comments on this bill? Rep. Callahan.
Thanks, Mr. Chair, and I do appreciate the work on this bill. During testimony, we did hear of the devastation some of our farmers have gone through. I appreciate this getting moved over to finance because I know there's a possibility for a $10 million bonding package on this. So with that, I would make a motion to move item number 11, House Bill number 6273, to the consent calendar.
Thanks, Rep. Callahan. I see a question from Rep. Dillon.
This is not going to be resolved today, but I know that having gone through this before with some of the same growers, once the product hits the ground, you can't sell it. And it's, let's say your apples all get knocked down, and it would be great if we had someone who could look at the produce that lands on the ground to see whether or not that could be used in another way. Whether it was, and I don't know if there's a process for that but it's come up many, many times. So that's not against what's going on here. And I'm very sympathetic, and I've seen that. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments, Representative. Hearing no objections to the motion, Mr. Clerk, let's add number 116273 to the consent calendar. Seeing no further questions or comments, we'll move on to item 12 on our agenda. HB 5916, an act requiring solar developers to provide farmland restoration bonds for both petition and application projects approved by the Siting Council. There is a JFS LCO 6219. I'll entertain a motion to JFS to the floor.
I'll second.
I'm waiting for him.
Second.
You want to take the motion, Rep. Dubitsky? You'll be first? Who wants to be first? We need to raise it first.
So
I
moved.
didn't hear. So moved by Rep. Gresko. Thank you. And seconded by Rep. Dubitsky. Thank you, gentlemen. Are there questions or comments on this bill? Rep. Callahan.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I do appreciate Rep. Dubitsky's work on this. We passed a bill similar to this last year. This was just an omission that was unintentional. So with that, I would ask that we add item number 12, House Bill number 5916, to the consent calendar.
Hearing no objections, so ordered. Next up on our list is number 13, an act authorizing the use of HB 6289, an act authorizing the use of drones to analyze, treat, and apply fertilizers and pesticides to crops. I've got this one in front of me. This one is LCO 6221, and I will entertain a motion to JFS to the floor. So moved by Rep. Piscopo. Seconded by Senator Harding. Thank you. Are there questions or comments on this bill?
All right.
Rep. Callahan.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is we heard quite a bit of testimony on this as well. Makes it possible for farmers to spot treat if they're approved, and also allows for with JFS for some seeding. So, good bill. With that, I would make a motion that we move item number 13, House Bill number 6289, to the consent calendar.
Thank you, Representative. Without objection, so ordered. Rep. Chafee, I see you got your hand up online. Do you have a comment for this bill?
Yeah, just a comment. I'll be supporting the bill today so we could add it to the consent calendar. But I do have some concerns about this, and I'm wondering if we could put some sort of restrictions in there regarding wind speed, and just to try to capture the fact that these drones are going to be flying in the air above where someone would be spraying on the ground. My main concern is, depending on the wind speed and direction, it's going to disperse the pesticides more. But as I said, I will support it today, and hoping we could look into that further when it gets out of committee. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you for the comments, Rep. Chafee. I think there's been some great conversation on this among a number of folks. One of them's right to my right, Representative Dubitsky. Any further questions or comments on this?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And I just want to address that comment by Representative Chafee real quickly. The entire purpose of this is to prevent the over application and sort of broad spraying that is typically done with airplanes or other aircraft. This allows for very precise application, even to not only to single plants, but actually to a single part of a single plant. So the drones, the idea of using them is not to just take the pilot out of the aircraft and still have the drones spray over the whole field. It's to use very precise GPS and LiDAR technology to apply the pesticides only exactly where they're necessary. So I certainly appreciate Representative Chafee's concern about spray drift, but the drones are used specifically to avoid that. So thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you for your comments, Rep. Dubitsky, and for your work on this bill. Are there further questions or comments? Seeing none, Mr. Clerk, let's make sure we move that to the consent calendar, please. Without objection. And now we're on number 14 on our agenda. This is SB 55, an act requiring the increasing of the boating speed limit on Wyossup Lake in North Stonington during the summer months. We are considering LCO number 6227. Thank you, Brad. I will entertain a motion to JFS this bill to appropriations.
So moved.
So moved by Rep. Callahan. Second by Senator Lopes. Are there questions or comments on this bill? Rep. Callahan.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I make a motion that we move item number 14, Senate Bill number 55, to the consent calendar.
Without objections, so ordered. Folks, we're going to hold item 15 on our agenda for today. So with that, I will ask Mr. Clerk to review and call the consent calendar. Reminder, votes will be held till 1 p.m. today.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is a roll call vote for our consent calendar, which includes Senate Bill number 641, JF to appropriations, Senate Bill number 1378, JF to appropriations, House Bill number 5064, LCO number 6218, JFS to the floor, House Bill number 6248, LCO number 6223, JFS to the floor, House Bill number 6914, LCO number 6220, JFS to the floor, Senate Bill number 59, JF to the floor, House Bill number 6250, JF to the floor, House Bill number 6273, JF to Finance, House Bill number 5916, LCO number 6219, JFS to the floor, House Bill number 6289, LCO number 6221, JFS to the floor, and Senate Bill number 55, LCO number 6227, JFS to appropriations. Senator Lopes. Representative Parker.
Yes.
Senator Hockedal.
Senator Hockedal votes yes.
Senator Harding.
Yes.
Representative Callahan.
Yes.
Representative Anderson.
Yes.
Representative Arzino.
Yes.
Representative Chafee.
Representative Chafee votes yes.
Senator Cohen.
Senator Cohen votes yes.
Representative D'Amico.
D'Amico votes yes.
Representative Dillon.
Representative Dillon votes yes.
Representative Doucette.
Doucette votes yes.
Representative Dubitsky.
Yes.
Representative Gresco.
Yes.
Representative Gucker.
Representative Gucker votes yes.
Representative Horn. Representative Jacobson.
Representative Jacobson votes yes.
Representative Jensen.
Representative Jensen votes yes.
Representative Johnson.
Johnson's yes.
Representative Leeper. Senator Marr.
Senator Marr votes yes.
Representative Mashinsky.
Mashinsky votes yes.
Representative O'Day.
O'Day, yes.
Representative Piscopo.
Piscopo, yes.
Representative Paletta. Representative Reddington Hughes.
Votes yes.
Okay.
Representative Reyes.
Representative Reyes in the affirmative.
Representative Ryan.
Representative Ryan votes yes.
Representative Smith.
Smith votes yes.
Representative Shannon.
Shannon votes yes.
Representative Stewart. Representative Steinberg.
Representative Steinberg votes yes.
Representative Sweet.
Sweet votes yes.
Representative Veach.
Veach votes yes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Reminder, votes will be held open until 1 p.m. Hey, I want to say a big thank you to the team that's been working hard with this committee this year through a couple of changes. Grateful for the support from our LCO team, our OLR team, our great clerks team, including folks that have helped us recently, including Ms. Zeta Romero, who we're grateful for, and Casey, hell of a job on day one. With that said, number 4 on our agenda is announcement and date and time of next meeting. We'll be back together on Monday, March 17th at 10 a.m. for a public hearing. And with that, the meeting will stand in recess until 1 p.m. Thank you, everybody.
Hi, Casey. I can't hear.
Senator Mark, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can. What votes did I miss?
Yeah, so we have a consent calendar.
I did the consent.
Okay, give me 1 second. And
Sure.
I think we need 63, 64. The consent calendar, for the sake of convenience, includes
No, Casey, I was
section
on.
3, numbers 4 through 14, with 15 being a hold.
Yeah, no, I was on and voted for the consent calendar. Do you not
Pardon?
have my vote?
We do not have your vote for the consent calendar, no.
Well, that was weird because I voted. Okay.
Maybe.
Yeah, I voted yes.
Check my notes. Maybe we did. Oh, no, I'm sorry. We do have your vote for the consent calendar. Apologies.
Okay, no worries.
We are missing, stand by. We are missing number 3, which would be House Bill 6868.
Okay. And the answer, yes, vote yes.
Yes, thank you very
Yes.
much.
And that's it?
Yes, according to my notes here, that's everything.
Okay, terrific. Thank you so much and welcome to the
welcome. Thank
committee.
you.
Great job.
We're doing okay. Charmington, I like that one. Charmington. Yeah, I went to Dunkin' Donuts not long ago. Yeah, I was taking my sister to get a rental car, so, yeah, yeah. What's the one, like, the main one? I don't know what route that is. If you just go up the, yeah, it must be Route 6. Yeah, just on the right there, across from the golf course.
Oh, okay.
Is that Tungus?
That's Route 4.
Route 4, okay.
There's another one off.
I don't know my routes. Okay, of course so.
There's Dunkin' Donuts everywhere, you know.
They're everywhere. Yeah.
What's going on? Hey, how are you? You were Johnny on the spot today. What's up?
So.
I'm
Yeah,
gonna
Brad,
go upstairs
thank you.
and
Thank you.
forward some bills to you. It's only
Okay.
10 bills, and then we can have the chairs sign them. Only 2 of them this evening. Do they have to determine what chamber to go to?
Okay.
The others are already determined based on the. So we'll do that, and we will get those filed today.
Okay.
And then, I guess beyond that, I think, we'll get those back on Monday and we'll do the bullets notice and all that sort of thing for a final hearing. And then the agenda for the public hearing on Monday is probably on, but I don't know.
I think it's published. It should have been. Anyway, I'm pretty sure it is because
Yeah, so we
we're
can
within
check
that
on
window.
to make sure.
Okay.
And then, just making sure, I don't know if Zeta had gotten a hearing room for that final hearing or not.
Yeah.
Maybe she had, I just don't know.
I think not. So I'll have to check. So that what was going to be?
I'm sorry.
Which day did you say that was going to be? Or did
That's
we
going to
see
be on the 24th.
the 24th? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's going to be
So the
24th.
following Monday. All right.
Yeah.
Cool. I'll make sure that gets done.
Yeah.
Cool.
So yeah, sorry, it's just full timing.
No. This is great. This is never a dull moment. So this
Yeah.
is fun, and I love a good challenge. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Yeah, I had to, I had to make a couple mistakes. No one's perfect. I think you keep things interesting.
Yeah, great.
But thank you,
Good to see
thank you,
Yeah,
thank
see
you.
you
I
soon.
appreciate it. Yeah, sounds good. I'm right behind you.
Sounds
All right.
good.
Well, thank you so much.
So if
for,
you have any questions, feel free to.
for
reach out.
sure.
Definitely.
I'm no doubt I will. So.
Yeah, sorry about the odd transition.
No. Don't be. I'm happy to be here and happy to do it. So.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Thank you very much. Hello. Howdy, y'all. Great. Afternoon, Eileen.
This is just like a question / an FYI. So I'll send you the info about the JF reports I've been working on. Rhonda, I guess, was curious about which ones hadn't been worked on, and I'm just wondering, and of course, like, whoever wants to work on whatever, but maybe if like soon we could come up with a list, because I just wouldn't want different people to start working on the same one by accident just because we don't have a centralized.
That is a great idea, and
Sensing
it's
that
on my to-do list for today.
Yeah.
So
No, I know it was on your to-do.
no, but I think
I'm
we should do that like
thinking
next.
Yeah, that's kind of.
That like, okay, good. Well, yeah, I mean, obviously we've got a lot and they
And-
need to get done, so.
Would you like me to? Like, it's for you.
Yeah, I think we can If you would just,
Like look for the actions, or I know different people do it differently, so
yeah, I
let me
mean,
know how you would.
I know, well, I mean, I have no strong preference as of now, anyway, but if you could definitely record the votes and all that.
Oh,
good
we have to
stuff.
wait until this.
Oh, we do need to wait till like it's close, but what you can do in the meantime.
Yeah.
Just see, flag which ones we're missing. I know,
We're missing people's votes from.
yeah,
I think it's
yeah.
almost all of them.
yeah, I mean, I think it is. So
I don't
we
think-
need Cohen. Well, I can just get all of this. Really these.
Are there any that everyone voted for? I don't,
I think,
maybe like one, right? But I don't think,
no, there's absence.
yeah. Oh, sorry, that I just was writing it down. as
No,
we
you're
were
good.
voting, so
No,
I-
you're good. No, of course. I mean, we were close. I think the last one, consent calendar. We only had a couple of people missing.
Yeah.
We need, or 4 people missing. Horn, Leaper, Letta, Stewart. Let's just get this. I mean, you can't publish it yet, but you could start. Oh, yeah.
Doesn't have a connection, doesn't have the bill number, has LCO.
Right, because they're the ones.
Confused, because they're trying to figure out where.
Which one, and it's not in any particular order on the email,
Okay.
but it's no one's fault. It's just the way that it is. It's just, you know.
Luckily too, as soon as we open up, like the document has the bill.
Yeah,
right there,
but the
so-
problem is I think he wants it like on, because when it's sent as an attachment, right, it just shows like the title of the document. And the title is only the LCO number.
So we can just-
So maybe we could ask them, if we could relabel it or ask them. They're not, that would make sense, because then it's their own thing.
To,
All right,
which they do, you probably know this, but especially.
I mean, I feel like he would, yeah.
What do we do? How do we?
I think for now,
It is.
what we could do is renaming them all seems like a process. We could do that if we had the bandwidth, but I think just putting in the body of the email, just
I have like,
correlating to what's what.
okay, here's what I've already done. I'm happy to reset it out. I have ones where I've renamed it. I have one where I have them all in one document in order as they appeared in the agenda, if that would be helpful. I can send that to you. I can send it to Rep. Dubitsky if he's
Well, I
just
think
a little
all of
bit.
them, he mentions it, somebody else will then say.
Right,
"Oh,
I think it's worth sending out. I think, yeah, if you have them all renamed, you
I
could
mean,
just
yeah,
say,
it's-
yeah, if you could just say, send them out and,
I'll just say these are the same.
just say,
documents, but just with the new-
resending exactly the same as went out before, but, it was brought to our attention that they only have the LCO number, so we're including the bill number as well. Right,
Because as soon as he said it, I said. "Oh,
yeah, exactly. If one person has a question, somebody else probably has the same. And, yeah,
All right, I'm gonna,
Thank you. I'm gonna run to the bathroom real
yes, and
quick.
I'm gonna spur on what we need Coletta and Stewart.
We need Plata and Stewart, okay, I'll give you a,
Leaper is missing.
can Hornseed vote on her behalf, though? I think that's dubious at best. I think she'll have to come, but Hornseed is on it at least, so she'll come. So we need Horn, Paletta, Stewart, and Cohen for at least one. Yeah, Cohen, thank you.
Do it with the title of the bill and then SL for like substitute language.
Yeah, I
so
think
they
that's
don't-
fine. Yeah.
Don't want to look at. Hold on.
While you're sitting there, just in case. There's somebody.
Oh, yeah, yeah, I'll, yep, Thank you.
Hello.
Here.
You hear me?
Yep. Can you hear me?
Wait. No. Oh, there we go. My volume was down. Okay. There we are. So, we need your vote for. Sorry. All my ducks in a row here. So we got agenda item 1. We need agenda item number 2, which was SB 9.
Yes.
Concerning yes. And then 36868.
Yes.
And the consent calendar. Which
Yes.
would be okay. Perfect. Recorded. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thank you.
Have a great weekend.
You too. Bye.
Hi, Casey.
Hi, Senator. Apologies for that. I missed one with all the papers.
No
and-
worries. No worries. Yes.
Thank you for
S-
helping.
It's SB9, right?
SB 9, correct.
Yep, correct. Yes.
All right, perfect. Thank you so
Okay.
much.
All right. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Have a great weekend. Bye-bye.
You too.